Something that I found super interesting this week was punishments versus reinforcements. I had like a decent idea of what the difference was, but I wasn't totally sure. And reading about how punishment can actually do more harm than good was very interesting to me. Learning that punishments can actually increase negative behaviors and negative emotional responses. And I personally found this very interesting because these are things that I have dealt with growing up and I watched my sisters deal with as well. So my mom is very much the punishing type. You very rarely get a calm, level-headed conversation, especially when you're in trouble. It's always, I'm taking this away from you, you're grounded, and it's said loudly, angrily, and this just kind of confirmed my belief that punishments and yelling can do more harm than good for children. And I just think it's really interesting, and I know that the times have changed from back in the day when they were able to paddle students in the classroom and things like that. I just found it really interesting how things like that went on for so long and then continue to go on at home for kids when they're actually just making behaviors worse. So then that just got me more interested in the different reinforcements, and I was just kind of comparing those to what I'm used to. So I think it would be much more helpful to be rewarded for either good behavior or not participating in bad behavior instead of being yelled at, because I think that being yelled at or punished, I think it just kind of leaves a bad taste in kids' mouths, and they feel the need to defend themselves or get angry in response to an angry adult. And it's always a matter of oh, well, you need to be respectful. But I think that's interesting, knowing that, it doesn't necessarily mean that the kid is trying to be disrespectful, but, angry emotions can invoke angry emotions in children. And I just find that very interesting. And I also thought it was interesting that, bad reports from teachers can negatively affect kids at home. So I personally always got good grades. I never, came home with an F and got in trouble or anything. But I found it interesting that there are kids who will get bad reports from school and their parents will, yell at them and berate them, when they get home. So that also just kind of opened my eyes on, from a teacher's perspective, not to send home negative things because you don't know what's awaiting students at home. But that also raised a question, what do you do if there is a student when where you really feel like you need to talk to the parents, but you don't want anything negative to come from that at home. So that just made me very curious about how to handle that. And I know that it's really important to send home positive notes about students, but I thought it was interesting and made me wonder, what to do when a student, is acting up or doing poorly academically. I just want to know, what's the most appropriate way to do that, because, I can totally see coming home with a bad grade and parents getting angry with their child. So I just found that really interesting, knowing that, those parents getting angry will make things worse for the child. And I just want to know the best way as a teacher to prevent that from happening while still letting parents know what's going on in the classroom, even if it's negative. So I'm just curious about that now.